All right, listeners, get ready for a deep dive that'll take us to the top of the world. We're talking Canadian Forces Station Alert, one of the most remote, most isolated places on Earth.
And to guide us, we're using excerpts from 6 months at the top of the world. It's a first-hand account of life at CFS Alert, and let me tell you, it is not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not your typical vacation spot. So, just to set the stage, imagine a place so far north it's closer to European cities than major Canadian ones.
Right. The author actually points this out when he describes arriving at Alert. He steps off the plane at the end of August, walks into constant daylight, and realizes he's closer to London than he is to New York.
Wow, that's a mind bender. So we're not talking about a little bit north, we're talking extreme north.
Extreme is putting it mildly. This is the northernmost permanently inhabited settlement on the planet, the geographic North Pole, a mere 817 kilometers away.
That's wild. You know, when most people think of Canada, they picture, I don't know, vast forests, maybe some mountains, friendly cities. Not exactly a frozen wasteland.
Yeah, this is a whole different side of Canada, one that most people will never experience firsthand.
That's true. You can't just book a flight to Alert. You need special permission to go there. But that's what makes this book so fascinating. It gives us a window into this incredibly unique and challenging environment.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the physical challenges. The author really delves into the psychological effects of isolation, darkness, and the extreme conditions.
Which makes sense. It's got to mess with your head a little bit, living in a place where the sun disappears for months on end. But before we get into all that, let's talk about the journey itself. I mean, how do you even get to Alert?
Well, buckle up, because the author's description of his arrival is quite the adventure. Military transport planes, mystery sandwiches.
Mystery sandwiches. Now, I'm intrigued. Did he elaborate on what those were all about?
Well, not really. Let's just say he left us wanting to know more about the culinary surprises. He also talks about the strange sense of camaraderie among the passengers, all bound for this remote outpost. They even had a nickname for themselves.
Oh, what was that?
Plainies, short for airplane people, I guess. A testament to the shared experience of this unusual journey.
That's kind of endearing. So even before you arrive, there's this feeling of being part of something different.
Absolutely. And once you're there, the reality of Alert's remoteness really sets in. The author goes into detail about this massive operation called Operation Box Stop.
Operation Box Stop, what's that?
It's essentially an airlift operation. Every single thing Alert needs, fuel, food, building materials, vehicles, everything is flown in. No roads lead in or out.
Wow. That's a huge logistical undertaking.
It is, and it's not without its risks. The author actually mentions a tragic plane crash that happened in 1991. A box-top flight went down, killing everyone on board.
Oh, that's awful. It really puts things in perspective, the dangers involved in keeping a place like Alert running.
It does. And the author reflects on how that accident affected everyone at the station, the sense of loss, and the reminder of how fragile life can be in such an extreme environment.
It must have been devastating. So, okay, we've talked about the journey, the remoteness, the inherent risks, but let's get to the heart of it. What's it actually like to live in a place with 24-hour darkness?
Well, the author describes it as a truly surreal experience. You go from this endless daylight to perpetual night. It messes with your sleep, your mood, even your perception of time.
I can imagine. I mean, I get a little grumpy after just a few cloudy days.
Right. But he describes something truly fascinating. He talks about how as twilight slowly starts to return after months of darkness, people become fixated on this tiny sliver of light on the horizon.
That's interesting. Like desperate for that little bit of sunlight.
Exactly. He even talks about how emotional it is watching that light gradually grow stronger each day.
It makes sense though, right? I mean, we humans are so dependent on sunlight. It's a primal thing.
Absolutely. And the author talks about how that prolonged darkness really highlights that connection, how vital sunlight is to our physical and mental well-being.
I can only imagine. You know, it makes you think about all the things we take for granted. Sunlight, fresh food, being close to the people we love.
It does. And it makes you appreciate the resilience of the human spirit, our ability to adapt and find joy even in the most challenging circumstances.
From the frozen landscapes of Alert.
It's a reminder that there's so much more to discover out there, so many incredible stories waiting to be told.
So, to our listeners, if you're looking for a book that will transport you to another world, make you laugh, make you think, and leave you with a sense of awe at the human spirit, we highly recommend checking out 6 Months at the Top of the World. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around you. There's always something fascinating to discover.